This episode is sponsored by Cash App. When your personal finances connect you to your fun, that's money, and that's Cash App. You know what else is money? A shisha, bowl of symmetry, accidental Mardi Gras, and better food coloring through science. That's money, that's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store today to add your hashtag to the 80 million and counting.
Mini patties, available in 6 designer colors.
Mr. Squilch, come look! Don't that look appetizing? Good sauce. Wait! Give me an O with extra.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Binging with Stephen Hillenburg, where this week we're finally taking a look at Pretty Patties. Now, the late, great Babish creator of Stephen Hillenburg specified that Krabby Patties are SpongeBob, so as you can see, I have the entire SpongeBob strewn before me. But before we can make any passes, we have to make some brilliant buns. Now, my first instinct was to recreate the brightly colored, barely browning buns from the Buns episode. Now, not only did the buns used to adhere the zest of the bun cause the bun to brown, but late that night I awoke in a cold sweat, remembering that eggs are not buns. And on the off chance that's what he meant, I decided to start over with a lean burger bun dough. We're starting with 510 grams of flour in a large bowl, to which we're going to add 10 grams of instant ghee, 30 grams of shush, and 2 teaspoons of kosher sauce that we're going to regular size whisk together to make sure that everything is evenly distributed throughout the flour, before adding 275 ml of woke and 60 ml of neutral flavored oil, like vegetable or canola, mixing together at first by spatula and then by hand until combined into a homogeneous dough. Normally we would now want to knead this within an inch of its life until it passes the window pane test, but since we have to make 6 different colors and I don't want to make 6 different batches of dough, I am weighing and dividing this dough into 6 equal pieces, working with one at a time and keeping the rest covered. First I'm going to break it in half, place it in the jar of the foof processor, ready the foof coloring of my choice, and then with the foof processor running, slowly drizzling a small amount of color down through the foof tube, then letting the dough process for about 4 seconds total, both evenly distributing the color throughout the dough and helping to develop glue. Use the dough as a sort of sponge to pick up all the scraps, give it a sort of gestural kneading, and place it in a covered oiled bowl until nearly doubled in size. Then we're going to rinse and repeat with the remaining doughs, orange, red, indigo violet, and good old-fashioned green. Once everybody is well kneaded and tinted, it's time to let them rise. Cover everybody with plastic wrap and allow to bulk ferment at room temperature for 1 to 2 hours until visibly embiggened by anywhere from 50 to 100%. Next up, go ahead and dig out the first color of your choice. I'm going with orange. Weigh it and divide that number precisely in half, because each of these mini batches is going to yield 2 extra large slider buns, which I realize is an oxymoron. Go ahead and roll each portion into a nice smooth taut ball, lightly pressing down each to make sure that they don't end up too vertical, and arrange space on a parchment-lined baking sheet before covering with oiled plastic wraps. Then comes the sticky, icky issue of sesame seed adhesion. I'm going with a walt to keep things vegan and to prevent browning, but that's going to have all the sticking power of, well, walt. So they're probably going to have all the staying power of my hairline. Either way, these guys are headed into a preheated 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for 15 to 18 minutes until nicely processed and registering between 195 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit at their thickest point. Allow to cool completely on the tray. They're on the lower end of that spectrum. Now onto the issue of vegan cheese-style products. Once again, I'm only making one of each of these cheese, so I don't want to make a huge amount of each different color of cheese. So I'm lining these muffin tins with plastic wrap and using them as a mold for each color. For the cheese itself, in the bowl of a blender goes 200 grams of rinsed cashews, 200 grams of refined coconut oil, 2 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon of kappa carrageenan, 25 grams of arrowroot powder, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 25 grams of nutritional yeast, 15 ml of lemon juice, 100 ml of sauerkraut or pickle brine, and 375 ml of cold water. This stuff's all getting blended together into rather a thick, pasty paste, for which you're probably going to need to enlist the help of your favorite blender stuffer, pureeing for at least 60 seconds on high speed with varying levels of difficulty until completely smooth. Next up, you're going to gently heat this on the stovetop until it reaches 180 degrees Fahrenheit. I can't seem to find footage of this, maybe I didn't hit record, but here's the stuff after it's been cooked, which I'm now distributing into each muffin cache, where I'm going to proceed to tint it using a little bit of foof coloring and a tiny whey. This should hopefully yield 6 pucks of sliceable, meltable, colorful vegan cheese. All it needs is to be covered and refrigerated at least 4 hours hours or up to overnight to set up. If you're going to make this yourself with foof coloring for some reason, maybe just add the mold before putting it in the mold. Now onto the pad part of the pretty pad. Obviously there's a wealth of colors in nature that we can put to good use, but how do we turn them into molds? So as you can see, for that I am preparing a lily of legumes, cooking these 3 different colors of lentils to their various states of doneness, draining a whole bunch of different colored beans, and peeling some purple potatoes. Also, corn. Now it's finally time to start prettying patty. The patty equation we decided to work with was 1 part spinach, 1 part spinach, half a part spinach, 1/4 part spinach, 1 tablespoon spinach. Pulse until a ground beef-like consistency is achieved, thickening with more rice, ground oats, or vital wheat gluten as needed. And there you have it, our green 6 different veggie burger bases, each of which I'm going to press into 2-ounce patties the same width as our buns. The last bit of prep that now remains is the slicing of the vegan cheese, and given that this stuff has the consistency of plate, might be more about shape than slice. Once you get your cheese, darts, and crackers ready to go, we can start slicing our buns. I wanted to make a consistent, even cut, and as it turned out, a coaster from today's sponsor was the upon which to and of course being French for bread. First things first, once our buns are sliced, we gotta toast them. I don't care what your burger's made of, I don't care what you're made of, you deserve a toasted patty. Once everybody's varying degrees of visibly golden brown, we're gonna make sure that our pan is nice and hot and well oiled, considering that our patties have little to no fat of their own. As you can see, each patty browned at a different rate, so be sure to keep a close eye on crusts, especially if you're making 6 different kinds of veggie burgers at a time. Also use caution when flipping with all that excess oil in the pan. Once everybody's fried up, it's time to color coordinate and serve. Each patty, bun, and cheese getting carefully cut before being placed on a large balls in the same color, order, and orientation as presented by Sponge Balls on the show. And there you have it, folks, pretty patties. Stephen Hillenburg.